19.
Okay. It is 6:04 p.m. Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. This Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation Commission regular monthly meeting. We're in the auditorium. And looks like we do have a quorum. Can I have roll call, please? Or should we do roll call? Have you?
Yes.
Beth Giltner here.
Mark Ingram here.
Jonathan Tigan here.
Ruth here.
Rod Gray here.
Sam Dudley here.
Okay. All present. We do have a quorum. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
It's Rod. Have a second?
Second.
It's Mark. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. The agenda is approved. Public comments is next. I think Sue is here.
My name is Sue Hubbard. I'm from Eureka Springs, and I'm here to comment on the proposal to do dredging for part of the channel in Leatherwood Creek, the portion that's near the inlet. I know this is real sensitive habitat, and we have set up a NERP, which is a way to evaluate proposals, but I've heard no mention of that having been done for this. And I want to make sure we at least reach that level of high priority project that we have done due diligence and looking on the impacts of that project. Also, I have worked a lot in riparian restoration. I was dealing with the plants, but I've worked with the people that have studied streams. And I have seen projects gone out with really good intentions and messed things up. And the most likely thing that's going to happen is that the water, if you get to a real high flow event, it's very likely it's going to jump that channel again that you put in, and then you've wasted all the money. But I also know many projects where things have gotten worse, things have been made worse by good intentions to work in streams. So I really ask you to reach out to everybody possible. I know you have done some reaching out, Sam. I'm not saying you haven't. But it sounds like at least one of the people you spoke to was dealing with implementation, which is important, but I really also ask you to speak to the people that do the planning around stream restoration. And we have an in with the Water Conservation Resource Centre, so they may be good people to go. Even if we have to pay people to come out and look, I would really just encourage you to do really due diligence and make sure that you have got all the expert opinion you can before you go in and do anything in that area, which is an area of change, and that water comes through with a lot of force through that area when there's high flow. And I'm just very concerned he's going to do whatever it wants to do, regardless of what we try to make it do. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Anybody else? What's next? Oh, chairperson comments. I don't really have anything prepared, but I will just to Sue. On our agenda today, we'll be talking about Leatherwood Creek. So I don't know if you're staying for the meeting or not, so maybe that'd be good, because you can hear what Sam has to talk about. Okay, that's all I've got to say. Director's report, Sam?
Yeah. Hey. Sorry. Lights.
I know.
Brutal.
This feels a bit like an inquisition.
So, yeah, since our last meeting, we managed to accomplish a number of things. We got the contract signed with Slaughter. So that's good. That's for the exclusive shuttle operations there, the Gravity Trail project. Sorry, I don't know, speeding back. We also sold the shuttles. We got about $28,000 for both of them. So $18,000 was basically to pay ourselves back, recoup the money that we spent paying them off, and then an extra $10,000 for approximately. So we won't have those $1,400 shuttle payments anymore either every month, so that's nice. We also sold a handful of other things, so we're actually in a really, I checked QuickBooks in the bank the other day, and we're in the black, so pretty cool, which,
Nice.
When we first started the year, the budget looked like it was going to be pretty deep in the red, so it's nice that we're doing well. Harmon Park, we got the entryway off Polk Street fixed, and also the entryway into the dog park. We redid that, so it's much cleaner, nicer looking. So I think most of the locals are happy with what we did. I'm sure there's a few who might think otherwise, but I think it looks really good. It's gonna be a lot easier to maintain as well. There's not
That's
that
good.
culvert that gets clogged with gravel all the time, so
Yeah.
No erosion.
no erosion. Well, little erosion.
Less
Yeah,
erosion,
yeah,
yes, less
a lot
erosion.
less.
You know, we still have a few other projects we'd like to do at the dog parks. We know that's not the end-all be-all of things, but we're looking to get the rest of the bricks engraved, like how much that would cost us. And then maybe we can put forth an initiative to have more of them engraved by the public for X amount of dollars. And we'll make sure we earmark all that and put it towards the dog park. I know that was an issue a few years ago where they raised a bunch of money and kind of, yeah, didn't get spent the way it was intended. Been busy at Leatherwood pretty consistently. It was a little slow during late August and early September, but it's been picking back up. So I'm assuming October is going to be busy as usual. It always is. So we've got a few renovations we want to do in the cabins. I'm trying to get pricing and quotes and figure out square footage and all that stuff what we'll need. But you know, we're just going to continue that push to make the cabins nicer so we can rent them out more and maybe even up our rates just a tiny bit because they're definitely the best deal in town. Been working with Nikki about editing our chart of accounts for next year's budget. So I think next month I'll have a basic kind of first draft for you guys to look at for next year's budget, just to look over. And it's going to take a lot of edits, I'm sure, so figure might as well start early. We're nearly out of trail maps, so I'm working with PTD right now to enhance the in-town or downtown map. And I've been communicating with members of the old Trails Committee, and CAPC, so I think we'll get all that funded and have a new edition that's even better. So, and on October 7th, this is good news, big news. October 7th, we'll be hosting our fall native tree giveaway at the Sal Wilson Memorial Pavilion
Nice.
at Lake Leatherwood from 10 o'clock to 2. We will have music from Scott Thompson and Don Matt, as well as drinks and snacks available for free. Of course, donations are greatly appreciated. In fact, Katie will be making the sourdough cookies for the event, so. Yep, good stuff. Let's put that on your calendar. And that's it for my report.
What day of the week is that? October
Saturday.
7th?
So the trees are coming Friday. We're going to stage them at the ball field. Well, they're going to drop them off at the ball fields and we're going to haul them down. I don't want to send my truck driving on that road, so. And then we'll bring them down to the pavilion and have our social party Saturday.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m., right?
Yeah, we're doing it down there. I mean, it's a great spot, and I think we intend it to be more of an event as opposed to just hang out and, you know, obviously get the playground right there and just trying to bring more people out to the main area of the park.
Like a little open house in the pavilion.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Any questions for Sam?
No?
I would just emphasize something that you talked about was the chart of accounts thing. Because I know Kevin and Scott had gone and cleaned it up and made it very narrow, which was great. It's been wonderful. And the only reason they're thinking of changing it and proposing it because now you see you can't drill down if you don't have a chart of accounts to drill down to. So, for example, if we want to say there's a lot of income categories, a prime example. So it's not a random just thought we want all these. It's not to build it back up like it was. It is to be able to actually account and say, we say, Sam, how much money did we spend at the Leatherwood, at the fireworks thing? You'll be able to drill down and get to that number as
Sub-accounts.
opposed to pulling it all out literally one expense at a time,
that's
which
one
is
thing
what we do now.
I did want to tell you too, is I know I'm not any help on the Excel thing, but if you're talking about chart of accounts, I can be of help there.
Oh, she
'Cause that's
perked up.
what
She
I
perked
do.
up.
I do. Chart of accounts is my baby.
I
And you
told
do
them.
need sub-accounts.
I did tell
You
them.
definitely, a smaller chart of accounts is nice, but you want those sub-accounts.
I was trying to get away from words like other and miscellaneous.
And miscellaneous, yes.
Other will often pop up if you have sub-accounts, but something isn't put into a sub-account, it's just left out of the main account, it will show as other, which,
I mean,
Well, I mean, the sub-account is
the
a great
mystery.
idea too. I don't know if we've even thought about the sub-account. Like, let's say it's
Yeah.
equipment maintenance, but we want to break that down to Leatherwood versus the rest or whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be all different ones. It can be.
or trucks
Subs to them.
versus heavy machinery
Yeah.
on vehicle
So,
maintenance.
yeah.
and you can run the reports as the total or detail,
Okay.
which is nice.
Well, I brought the minutes to sign, so you're pretty much on the finance committee, so.
Yeah, I just got to take it to the bank for her to be able to sign checks, but that doesn't mean that you can't do all that. It's
Yeah.
just the checks.
Be good.
I do have a question. For our cabins and for our space for RVs, do we seasonally change prices for those, or is it a set price all year
I
round?
believe last winter, I don't think, yeah, I was definitely not the director at the time, but I believe you guys gave us flexibility
To give.
within 20% to,
Yeah.
to lower them. We can't raise them.
Right.
They're at a set price, but if we want to lower them by 20% for a promotional thing, wintertime is slow, so a good reason that, or a good way to try and get people to come out is offer a discount.
So then, like, when we have big seasonal things that are going on, let's just say Hillsbury, for example, we don't raise our rates for those because every other hotel is doing the same thing?
Well, this would be something that, we've talked about this in previous meetings, having a property management team would really help with. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dynamic pricing would take care of that. It would see how many did it and raise the price if it was popular.
Yeah, that's what we do at all hotels that I know of, because we're in
Airbnb
contact
does
with,
And the
Right.
platform will just automatically
and they will
raise
automatically do the
people's-
rates up to a point based on what's going on for the event. Like, this is Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue weekend. This is the most expensive weekend in the city that I know of. So it seems like our rates would go up to match what all the hotels do.
but it's also weird because we're not a private business. We're
Yeah, we
a
can't do
public.
that.
We
Right.
can't do that?
Not right now, not the way it's set up.
Not the way it's set up. If we switched to a management company that did it and let them do their dynamic pricing, that'd be one thing, which maybe, we should consider. We've talked about it.
We've talked about it.
Looked into it, but right now, no, we can't just arbitrarily decide to do that.
Yeah,
to
I don't
raise
think
them.
so.
Can't raise them, I don't think.
Every time I speak, I'm going to be pushing, like, making more money because
Yes,
that's the
no, I like the
important
idea.
thing for me being here. So, okay, just asking.
No, I agree. I think we
Just
need to
a
make more money.
thought I wanted to throw out, if you're doing the tree giveaway, and you're gonna have live music and refreshments and stuff out there, I'm someone who frequented Leatherwood for years and never really thought much about those cabins sitting there, what they were like, what they look like. Would you consider maybe doing, like, opening a couple for people to look inside and see?
Good idea.
Kind of like a little open house of the
I
cabin?
just had this image of Beth like asleep on one of the beds.
No.
It's like, oh, this is really cozy. Yeah.
No, but it might be, even locals might see that if they have friends come into town
Yeah.
and they see these cabins, they can go, hey, there's really cute cabins out there. It might,
It's a
I've
good
never
idea.
been in
That's a good
one,
idea.
I think
So,
it's a very
If
good
we have
idea.
an open
I've
cabin,
never
obviously
seen
if there's someone staying in it, we're not gonna,
I've never seen it.
Right.
Open
can
a
even
cabin
dress
someone's
them up.
staying in, but,
Yeah, of course not.
we'd be happy if there's an open cabin, it's a good idea, yeah. I feel like I've had this conversation quite a bit, recently. Just how many locals have never been, and why would they? Because
I've never been here.
They have
now.
their
why
own
would they
home.
stay?
I have my
Yeah.
own.
So, but yeah, I think it'd be cool and, just to kind of show off what we have to locals
Yeah.
and help, because they can help spread the word to tourists or people who are coming to town.
Absolutely.
And if that idea doesn't work for this weekend, keep that back in your mind, because you're probably booked that weekend, I'm thinking. October.
Yeah, maybe we could just,
But maybe the next time you have some sort of event out there, you could time with a little open house for the cabins and
yeah, it's kind of
show
neat.
people. That'd be cool. Be good. Okay. Anything else? Oh, I do have a question actually myself about the So the next quarterly financial reports, this quarter ends September, right?
Yes.
So in October, when we get the reports for third quarter, are y'all going to have the new chart of accounts in place for those, or this will just be for the end of the year or for next year?
For next year.
Next year,
Yeah,
okay.
not going to mess with anything this year.
Okay. I think so too. I was just clear and making sure I understood that. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Questions for Sam? Nope. Okay. Committee reports. Carissa's not here. She's not with us this evening. So unless someone else has something from her committee, no. Anything from finance, Mark, other than you already told us about?
No, just the chart of accounts thing.
Okay. Okay. Old business. I see nothing on the agenda about old business. Let's move on to new business. The RFP for Lake Leatherwood Dam handrailing repairs. I'm going to let Sam tell us about that.
Yeah, so we received 2 bids as well as a handful of inquiries about the project. We only received 2 official submissions, I guess you call them. One was from, let's see, his name is David Dobrin. That's an R, sorry, always.
That's an R.
And, you know, his plan was to essentially do what I had kind of mentioned before, which was to simply line the dam with chain link fencing and call it good. That's something that, I'm not sure, were you here for that one, Jonathan? Do you remember that? Yeah, okay. So that was sort of like an initial proposal I put forth was, you know, buying prefabricated chain link fencing panels and using, you know, some kind of hose clamp, metal hose clamp to tie them down to the piers. So his suggestion was doing that. I took him out there. He looked at it. He did a pretty good run through of it. I'm not sure, like, I mean, given the price, I feel like it's something, that's something we can do in-house. I mean, we don't need to pay someone else to do that, personally, is my opinion.
So you only have 2 proposals that we're looking at, right? David's
Yeah,
and
and also I wasn't sure, you know, this is one that, when I suggested just doing the chain link fencing, basically what I'd be doing is doing hose straps, you know, hose clamps around the piers, which means no to the structure. There'd be no like bolting or screwing into the concrete on the dam. I know the state approved that, but I'm not sure if they would approve. I didn't have time to get this to Kyle and Ralph down at the AHPP, but they might raise an eyebrow if it were to involve actually putting screws and holes in the dam. Because it's already deteriorating and, you know, it's certainly not going to help anything.
the handrails deteriorating, not the dam.
Well, yeah, yes. The dam is also deteriorating, but
I know, but-
slowly, very slowly.
Different issue.
Yes.
So then we've got David's and Stacy's. Everybody's got copies to look at. You've looked at them already. And the bid proposal time period's over with, of course, right?
Yeah, we closed it Friday at 5 p.m. So if we didn't have it by Friday at 5, it's considered late unless you can prove that you postmarked it and there's some fault of, you know, the postal service or something. But
So do you want the commission to make this decision about the proposals, or do you feel like we're recommendations, or do you
well,
think we ought to be?
this is sort of open conversation, and I mean, you guys, you know, we got 2 of them, and so yeah, that's just a basic rundown of the thing David proposed. The second one is from Stacy.
So he's
Oh,
not proposing
sorry.
to redo the concrete
No,
with the
doesn't look
forms
like
and
it.
everything. He's just proposing putting up hog panels and tying them
Yeah,
to
like
the
little
Yeah,
things.
this
Yeah.
picture in it, that's pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. But now Stacy's was for the full concrete, right?
Yeah, so Stacy's
Make it
Stoneworks.
kind of like what it is now.
Yeah, you'd be actually going in and pouring forms, and, you know, some of them are beyond repair, so you'd have to pour the entire structure, which,
Seems like
Yeah.
a no-brainer. I mean,
Yeah, to me.
I mean, if for the amount of money, I mean, even we talked about doing those panels as a temporary thing, not, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, as something that we could do to get the dam back open. It's not gonna do anything to solve the continued deterioration of the current rails, right? So it seems like Stacy's proposal would do that.
Yeah.
Timeline is also very different on the two projects. One's a month and one's
Yeah,
6 months.
I
Yeah.
really think it's really only one viable proposal.
I think so too, because
I
to me,
do
like I
And
said,
it's
David's
still-
proposal looks
it's
more like a
still-
temporary fix, but it's going to
Even
take 6 months to do it.
historically, it kind of is, you know, with the concrete, having it put back like it is.
it will, yeah, and it
Then
will look
that's-
different. I mean, if you
Yeah,
go
but
in,
it's going to be more,
for
Yeah, he's
example,
got little-
he actually just went and fixed the Crystal Terrace stairs, the steps going up there. You can tell like which ones are new. I mean, it's different, you know, color. Yeah, it's not the same
give it a couple years.
texture, but I mean, it'll be structurally sound.
And it'd be the same exact style, right?
Yes.
It's new, part of itself.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that idea.
I don't see the downside of that.
From what it sounds like, he's building a mold, and then he'll put it around each of the pillars by filling the mold with the void space with new concrete.
Yeah, it's each one that needs it.
Reinforced.
Some of them are actually good enough. He's not going to have to do that. Most of them need something,
Yes, they
but
do.
it's a pretty. Most of them it's a pretty small fix. It's just like epoxying a few cracks and stuff, and I mean, nothing too
Now,
serious.
Stacy's not doing anything like this wiring,
No,
right? So this guy,
Which, I mean-
Doblin guy.
Dobrin.
Doblin, okay. He is actually doing this to it.
yes,
Okay.
that was his proposal.
That's his proposal, okay.
And if we wanted to actually revisit the chain link fence idea, I mean, like, not in replace of one of these, but if we do feel like we want a little bit extra security or safety, we can always add that. The thing that occurred to me was like, the fencing's only as good as the structure. So like,
Right.
I mean, if you lean on the fence and then the pillar falls apart, then the fencing's going to go too. So
Yeah, I think we
something
deal
to think
with that.
about. But I think right now we just need to focus on what do we need to do to get
And
this
to
thing
stop the
open.
deterioration.
Stop
Yeah,
deterioration
like-
and get it open again, make it
Worse.
usable, yeah.
I think it's kind of evident, there's no comparison
There's
between
no
these two.
comparison to me, I mean, to me, the
There's
only,
absolutely no comparison. This one, Stacy's has details with wording and exact wording that you would expect out of someone doing something engineering wise, and this one does not have anything like that in it.
yeah, he's got spec drawings.
His
in it.
explanation doesn't make me happy. I mean, I'm like looking at the results of what will be. I'm not happy with that. And if we spend money, it looks like it's going to still have to be recorrected, correct? Because this is not what this is. This is entirely cleaning up and making it right.
And we get the dam back open for that amount of money, when we've been told for a long time that it was going to be God knows how much.
$1 million
So-
or
Which
something,
to,
yeah.
to
Right.
tear down the whole thing and start from scratch and
Oh,
like
yeah.
to match the exact specifics of everything would cost $1 million. But
Why would we do that?
when there's another fix, it's.
This is restoration.
Right, it's a nice
And I mean,
solution.
another good thing about this too is, I'm assuming, concrete, it goes, it's just like anything. It doesn't last forever. So like, as time goes on, more of these might need to get redone. And instead of having to close the whole dam down, if we know that there's something that needs to be replaced, we can go out there and it can be a quick job and Obviously, we'd probably want to wait until there's enough of them to make it worth it to go out there, but it doesn't have to get to the point where it got to,
Right.
it's never going to be in the state that it's in now again, hopefully.
Hopefully, we have learned some lessons over the last 120 years.
When you see the crack, maybe pay attention, before it gets
Cool.
so bad.
So do we even have to do anything with this?
It depends on whether Sam kind of wants us to. I don't think we're required to vote yes or no on this, although the amount of money we're spending, maybe we do. How much is the Stacy's again? Stacy's is
52.
52,000?
Yeah.
Then we should have a vote on that, whether y'all
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
I'm not, yeah,
accept it.
yeah.
If you're ready. I know.
Dear
I'm just
Lord
saying.
Almighty, I would not,
I know that. I'm just saying out
I
loud.
want that on paper for sure. but-
Yeah. Are,
How are we feeling about the funds for this?
So right now, currently, the Leatherwood Money Market account has $225,000 approximately. We have about 15 in the checking. So, I mean, we're doing, we can afford it. It's just a matter of like, is this priority enough to want the amount of money? I mean, it's
What do you see as
25%
another
of what
priority?
Seems like it has to be.
22% of what we have.
It's our biggest part.
I think it's one of our
the most
biggest
used
priorities
part.
right
I
now.
think so too.
Well, that account can only be used for stuff
Yeah.
at Leatherwood. Sharing it to
Yeah.
other things at Leatherwood, so,
And all that
Yep.
money has to go to Leatherwood.
yeah.
Do you see something as a greater priority?
I mean, yes, but we've already kind of set it in motion with the watershed assessment. I mean, I think getting the lake water quality back is a huge priority, but we've initiated, we're in
Right.
that process, so thank we I'm saying structures, probably not. This is probably number one. In the future, it would be cool to visit, maybe another bathhouse kind of thing down in the lower field for camp users, and which would require septic and all that stuff, and power and water. I mean, that'd be a big project, but that's stuff that I think our goal for the next 5 years is fix what we have, right? It's sort of our-
Right.
we're not really in like expansion mode. We're in what
Yep.
Yeah.
We're focusing on deferred maintenance and things that need to be fixed.
out with the
from
new,
before.
in with the old.
Yeah. And like we've all said, and we know, this is important to the public and park users and,
Yeah, and the bathhouse needs to be renovated. I mean, that
Sure.
would be a close second, or maybe even tied for first, but,
But
this
this
is
trail
sitting.
around the lake is the trail. I mean, when
Yeah.
I worked in town and people say, where can we go hike? I always send them to the lake loop, and now
Yeah.
you can't do it, and you haven't been able to do it for years, so.
That's right.
Yeah. One, this is sitting here staring at us in the face, as opposed to the bathhouse. I haven't formulated any numbers yet. I haven't.
I think more people utilize this trail across the dam than the bathhouse.
I know I'd like to use it again,
I would
that's
too.
for sure.
I'm tired of getting wet and doing that, what I'm not supposed to.
Well, really, there's a 4-foot king snake that lives in the bathhouse, and I'm really trying to make it a little nicer for the king snake in there.
There you go.
Seriously?
Yes. Kinda
that's good though,
spooky.
he'll keep the copperheads
It's in
out.
it's in the storage. It's not in the bathroom.
Okay.
It's not like
Maybe we
Harry
could work
Potter.
out
It's not gonna.
some stuff like the community center does, where we can do some fundraising specifically for the bathhouse.
That'd be fun to do a
Yeah.
specific,
Whether it's for one part of it or one,
could have a
if we had
fashion
to do it
show.
that way. So that's, like you said, that's another whole discussion
I
and,
was
But
trying to.
yeah.
Fashion show.
yeah.
It was sort of something I was going to put on the agenda for next. I'm trying to go with some contractors just to see, like, give me a ballpark figure what it would cost to, redo the inside, basically just all the plumbing to make more showers, make it just nicer, and
Yeah, just,
it's pretty not appealing on the inside of the bathhouse. So.
Well, we've talked, well, lots of things, yeah, it's down the road, but is it just not cheaper to build a nicer, newer actual bath facility that's handicap accessible? And in addition to fix up the old one, but not, I mean, there's space there to do interpretive things, office,
Yeah,
storage, et cetera, and then really focus on
Yeah.
a nicer, newer bathhouse. as a separate structure
Yeah.
someday. We talked about that before too, but yeah, you're right, that's down the road.
Yeah.
There won't be people to use the bathhouse if they don't get a chance to walk around the trails once in a while. So we better go ahead and fix this.
So do we need to make a motion to accept
If y'all are ready to
Stacy's
vote and
proposal?
want to make a motion to,
Well, okay, so what, there's sort of, just to be clear, because we did not identify this in the budget as a specific item.
Right.
So we need to basically approve this amount for the budget. Okay, so let me get to that out.
Okay.
I'll see if I get it. So the total bid is 52,000? Correct?
yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we amend the budget to approve the $52,000 to repair the dam railings as per the RFP of Stacy Stoneworks.
I'll second that.
That's Mark and Beth. In discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Motion passes 4-0. You, Sam, have your ability to call Stacy and get that set up. And hopefully it won't take him 6 months. Who knows? I doubt it. He's pretty good. I'm happy.
Sure you
I
guys
guess
can empathize, but the moment when it gets voted on, stomach just drops out and you're like, it's like
you
you're
gotta
really
do it.
happy, but you're also like really nervous now.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this
And now you
this
have
is
to
on.
call.
stress.
Now it's real.
This is on us now to do this correctly.
Well, considering that Stacy is done he's done other work for us, we know his quality of work, it's a good thing. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And he
I'm
has
happy.
to live here. Right, so.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, new business. Number 2, Basin Park renovation plans. Everybody have the little copies there?
I'm looking at it.
Okay. This is just a continuation of what we've been talking about with the concept plans from McClellan. This was the latest 2 concepts, option 3 and 4, right?
Yeah, so the initial 3 concepts that we ended up getting all included a recessed area for the spring, just leaving it open and digging down and then creating something you can walk down to. And so in that initial conversation, the mayor weighed in and was like, we need to at least have an option for not doing that, leaving it as is. I mean, obviously, we're going to have to dig down and fix it, but to recreate it as is. And the first 2 options they gave us they were fine, but maybe a little bit more modern than what we were looking for. They kind of
Oh, yeah, the
looked a little
previous
bit,
ones they showed us?
Yeah, it looked like something out of Futurama or something. A little
Logan's
bit
Run.
lacking in the Eureka touch. So this first plan was the last plan that they presented in the initial one, and then they came back and got us the other plan to go with it that doesn't include recessing the spring down. So they both look great. They both look amazing. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's what we want Basin Park to look like. Obviously the issue is, once you get to the price tag, it's like all things. We all know what we want it to look like, but
I think that my understanding was the main thing we were concerned about, above all, is making sure that people don't walk across in a cave-in. So that they were going to go assess what has to happen, and so that even if at all, except for just
Fixing that.
fix that. And I'm assuming that as I'm looking on this treatment task, there's concept plan 4, this says plaza, and it says restoration and preservation task. Is that pretty much what that is?
on number 4,
On page, well, on this page here, see, it looks like that.
is that,
It
is that
says
plan
four.
repair
3
and
or
structural
4.
issues under the fountain.
Yeah.
So-
So that to me,
Yeah,
the things that if we don't do, they'll have to close Basin Park down, that's what I'd be most concerned about,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, preserve the historical underground water tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, when they say preserve, I mean, yes, that means fixing it and making sure it's stable.
Right.
So, I mean, I was actually talking with a couple, I guess it doesn't matter, Scott and Chris from CAPC, and, you know, I'd mentioned this, and I think there's a big appetite for helping us with the funding of it, but I think it's important to remember we don't have to do all of it right away. I mean, like, we can take this in chunks. Like, one thing we're talking about is the upper terrace. I guess that's listed as number 4 on both of them. And like taking out those boxwood plants and like putting a handrail up so that people can safely walk up there. And it's access to the band shell for
Good idea.
musicians. It needs to be fixed. It's kind of dangerous going up there. As kids are going to go up there regardless, so let's make it.
Well, every
Easy.
parade, there's people just sitting up there and
Oh,
hanging
yeah,
out on
yeah.
top of those, and that's,
It's the best viewing spot, you know, so let's make it accessible and safe for people to do that.
That's actually in both of them.
Yeah, number 4.
I think it
So
should
that's
be.
going to happen.
Well, yeah, because the band shell has all the structural issues from all the water behind and underneath it and everything too, so that'll be,
I think as far as the infrastructure issues down below, underneath the fountain, I think we're going to really have to, I mean, A, I think we can't afford it. B, I think there's a lot of justification for maybe getting assistance from the city, because that's a,
It's a public works issue. really.
yeah, I mean, it's being caused deterioration that's,
Yeah, there's no way
Beyond
any of
our
this is
scope.
going to happen at all without
Yeah.
without a,
Joint
yeah.
a
effort.
collaborative effort between us.
Yeah.
It just can't. So I think it's beautiful, and I'm excited about the possibilities. But we don't got it.
Yeah, I'm excited that this option looks more like what we would consider should.
so it's going to be
Park.
interdepartmental. Yeah, it's, but yeah, I do like,
Both
I
of
don't
them
know, I
actually.
mean,
Did
Both
they
of them.
do a full presentation, slideshow, and all that kind of stuff with you guys?
they did the first,
Did
they didn't with the second draft, like with the additional plan they made. But they did, yeah, when we did the first initial talk, going through stuff. I really like feature number, I guess it's number 9 or number 8. So it's on the right-hand side. Having like an archway like we do at the front of Basin to like signify when you're actually in the park.
Good idea.
Because it's pretty ambiguous right now. It's just the
Yeah, that's-
sidewalk runs
that's
out and all of a
important.
sudden you're,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Just makes you realize where you are.
Yeah, that's, think about it. Most people probably think they're still part of the hotel.
Yeah, that's,
Well, I mean, it's Basin Park and then the Basin Park Hotel. It makes it
Yeah,
a little confusing.
convenient. Yeah.
So
Sprint-
looking these over, pretty much the only difference between the two proposals is what's happening in the center, whether or not it goes down or whether
what
or
it
not.
looks like.
Everything else looks pretty much identical.
Yeah, and
And a statue, I think.
Yeah, the statue's relocated in the one where it goes down. It's like the
Yeah.
doughboy gets moved.
yeah, the statue relocation has had so many different ideas over the years, so many different ideas, including ones of moving at the park, ones to put it in a specific veterans area with other war memorials and things like that. And/or, because it's in the center of the park, there have been people that have complained that it blocks the view of the stage, et cetera. I can think of so many ideas over the years. People have talked about when, where, how
Yes.
to move the statue. So I'm sure it'll get moved, it won't get moved, but we'll do something with it. I don't know. It's going to
Yeah.
be funny to see what wins out that part.
well, one thing I really want to avoid, because we've been dealing with this with Bruce Wright and the American Legion. So there's that big quartz crystal that was at Harmon for a while. Turns
Right.
out that used to be a basin, and it got moved like 6 different times when they redid the retaining wall. Actually, Bruce was the one who redid it. And that's one thing I do want to avoid is if we do end up having to move things temporarily, let's make sure they go back to where they were.
Yes.
Sure.
Because it's kind of
But,
a headache,
and
and
we'll-
it's a little bit disrespectful. And
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure we'll get feedback from VFW and places like that. that give us
Sometimes
some-
giving
Yeah.
people a heads up that something's going to happen like that too offsets a lot of the bad blood. Just
Yeah.
say, hey, we're going to be moving it, it's temporary, it's
Yeah.
going to be,
yeah, this is where we'll be.
yeah.
In the back of Jeremy's work truck. This is where it's
Yeah.
going to be.
We won't lose it.
About a month. Fortunately, it's like 800 pounds. I don't think anyone's going to steal it. But
So where are we with this? What's
Yeah,
our
the
next-
price was, 900. I mean, these are very these are not official quotes, but they're just
Right.
giving us ballpark figures for, and this is just one, firm doing it. So they estimate about 900 for option 4, I believe. And then 1.3 for
I knew
option
you were
3,
gonna say that.
the one that goes down.
Yeah,
Of course, the one I like is more expensive.
Me
of
too.
course.
I love that one.
You have
Yeah.
expensive taste.
It certainly looks a lot better.
It's cool. It does add like that.
Reminds me of
you know.
Sweet Spring.
Yeah, I was about to say, it kind
Yeah,
of feels like a
kinda
nod
like
to some other
Sweet
springs in the,
Spring, yeah. I like it.
Well, it's good that we're still
Like I
working
said,
on it.
they're both amazing, and we'd be happy with either one. But
We'll just keep working on it, keep a lot of collaborative effort from other agencies and keep working on it
yeah.
because it is,
And I think picking it off, it's like how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So try to find things that we can do, that we're capable of doing.
and like you said, that your staff can do, like take, like that with the boxwoods are and all that, make that area
Yeah.
easily.
Make sure that there is a plan. Do it piece by piece.
Yeah.
Don't have to go get approval every time you tree, or if we have funding,
Get a plan approved, you'll be able to just slowly take those elephant bites whenever you want.
And Kyle had mentioned maybe we just have everyone needs to come in and
Definitely.
yeah.
Oh, but have their say in
Did
it.
it in Eureka. So.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
They want to be able to see all this when we get to that point where we've got things more nailed down. That'd be really good. Okay. Anything else you want to let us know about the Basin Park renovation plans? Did you want us?
No, we just
Unless you've got 9 that you want to spend
Yeah,
right now, and want us to vote on it or something.
got 3 million words that are worth $1 each.
Yeah. Okay. What's next? Oh, dredging at. How about that?
So included trail report thing that I police director at the time, and you and I had talked about it several times. Included some fun down there. I've been I was the trails coordinator for 2 years before I became the director, so I came across this area quite often, and it's gotten so bad over the last few years. I mean, I grew
Yeah.
up here, what it used to look like, and it's
Yeah.
gotten so terrible.
How many years?
It's what do you mean?
How many years seeing what it used to look like until it is now?
I mean, it as bad as it is now. I mean, it's sort of got up to a point, but I mean, now you can see there's no water going back under where the creek bed used to be, which is,
Right.
of course, under the bridge.
5 years ago.
That's what I
Yeah.
think, too. I think
Okay.
maybe one of those big
Because we
flooding
used to hike
events.
it every single weekend, and the bridge was, well, when it wasn't one, it got washed away at one
Right.
point, and then it's just impassable. You'd have to go out and go back around, and
Yeah. And it's, I mean, I get there's ecological concerns and there's things we got to take into effect. But, I mean, for me, if we're going to like market that as a trail, like it has to be maintained to an extent. I'm not saying we just go out there and go crazy on it. I did have the Corps of
dam so people
Engineers.
can get around the lake, and then they get down at that end and they can't get around the lake.
Yeah, that's an issue. We actually had a bike event, put it in the report. There was a bike event that we had last October, I think, around fall time, and they basically had to reroute the course last minute because it rained the night before. And like you just couldn't get through the area. I mean, it was unnavigable, so they just last minute changed the whole course, which,
Now, is there a watershed evaluation going on down at that area?
yeah,
And-
actually
and-
Olson just came and did
and we
a
talked to
a
them
survey
about
of the water
digging
quality.
that out, redigging that? Have they been consulted on that?
I just spoke with Andy today.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't affect their study at all, but
It doesn't?
yeah.
Good.
I
All
did
right, cool.
speak with Sandy, and she said, you know, she would be happy to come and give me some advice or, you know, just give me her opinion. So it's not like I'm starting it tomorrow, but basically I'm just seeing if you guys are interested.
So by looking at this, this is this bridge here,
Yep.
and the water is not coming through the bridge like it used to.
It's cutting over.
It's going around
It's
and
flowing
creating an
this way.
island.
It's flowing,
Oh.
and then it's cutting over.
I see, okay.
The creek pretty much filled up with trees.
Yeah,
Created a
Trees
natural
and what
dam.
else, gravel or something, it's just, yeah, it's
well,
junk.
that's happening at the lake. I mean, it's like in the corner where my land is. The water is gone, so trees are falling into that, and then you can see where they're laying. You wouldn't know there was a problem until the water is gone. So that makes sense.
Sam, who all have you talked to already and conferred with for sort of resolving this issue?
Well, yeah, I did speak with, well, obviously, you guys saw in the notes that I did get a permit from the Corps, so I had a member of the Corps of Engineers come out and look at it. So
And you talked to
That's-
Sandy. Weren't you at some point
I
talking
spoke with John Chapman, who owns a river restoration company.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
He came out several times and looked at it, and we both agree, it's like, it's not a permanent fix. It's not like, it's nature. It's going to want to, you know, nature, water is powerful, and it's hard to control it, especially when it's coming down at that velocity in that area. But I feel like not doing anything is sort of like negligence at this point. You know, it's sort of just saying like, oh, we just give up. It's fine. And, I mean,
What are the downfalls?
well, as Sue was saying, I mean, you can definitely mess stuff like this up. I mean, potentially could make it worse, although I'm trying to imagine that area worse than it is.
Well, you know, the,
Ecological harm, you know, there's a lot of things to take into consideration, but this is mostly a conversation with you guys to see how you feel about it.
get out there. Well, rain events have gotten larger, more water with each rain event. That's climate change, that's just fact. We're getting more water.
Yeah.
And whatever you do would also hopefully prevent this from happening so often in the future. And you'd be looking for something that would be kind of temporary fix, yes. Future will take
Yeah.
over, but make it usable and not have to worry every time we have a big rain event, which could be every day at this point.
I mean, after a big rain event, it's going to be flooded down there regardless of what
Yeah,
we do
but-
here. I mean, but when it's even just minimal amounts of rain, where you get the little quarter, half-inch sprinkle in the fall and winter especially, and then you come down there and it's just totally flooded still, and because the water's not able to
Get
move all
out.
the way down to the lake.
And then campsites 11 through 18.
Yeah, I've started to get worried about that because there's so much. I mean, all the water is kind of going to that area, and I feel like eventually it could jump over into that meadow, the island over there, where those
Okay.
campsites are. I mean, it's getting close, although there are quite a bit of native, not native, but grasses that have kind of spurred up. That
I just read that, I was wondering, that was my next question. What kind of grasses are growing at an alarming rate?
Well, that's a question for the NERP to go through. I
Okay,
mean, that's something that
okay.
we would have Stephen come out probably and look at it and assess what's actually going on. But, you know, a lot of this just goes down to, you know, when every trail I have to maintain or not I, but I used to have to maintain every trail, especially at creek crossings where there's lots of water. It's a matter of keeping it clean, keeping it safe, keeping it, and I think it's worth a shot, personally, to see if we can make it better. It's not permanent.
No, but it'd be more efficient in getting the water out of that area, through that area, and
Yeah.
on into the lake.
And in 2026, we're hoping the watershed assessment will be wrapped up, and then maybe we can get a bunch of money from, whatever organization, probably the federal government, to dredge the lake. And that would be really helpful in terms of this, making sure the water can get down, into the lake quicker.
Right.
But
And you mentioned here
that's 3
regular,
years away.
regular maintenance to keep the creek bed free of fallen trees and all that stuff too, we can figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a terrible idea to every couple of years walk the creek bed, or when I say walk, I mean take like a large excavator down the creek bed, not pulling any gravel out or anything, but when you come across a big tree, try to put it back up on the bank, because what happens is trees fall, water finds a new course, it eats more soil, and then
Yeah.
More
Erosion.
sediment.
more sediment, which exposes roots to other trees, and then they end up falling.
And bank erosion and all that, yeah, it's, ugh. Well, it sounds like we're doing what we can do right now. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about? Did you want to read any of this into the microphone, this little summary here, anything like that?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I can, but.
I think the people that are listening to this would maybe like to hear just a little summary paragraph. Because if you don't know what this is about and you're watching this meeting, you might wonder what we're talking about. I think reading that, if you'd like to, Sam, or someone else can if you don't want to.
Okay, fine. You're my boss. Also, I got stung by a yellow jacket in the chin
Oh, that's
today.
right, you can't talk.
Would you like me to read it for you?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. So the summary is just near the southeast portion of Beecham Trail, the end of Leatherwood Creek flows into the mouth of Lake Leatherwood. This wetland area has always been somewhat challenging to cross after heavy rains. However, lack of regular maintenance and an increase in heavy rain events have resulted in major degradation of this once beautiful area. It's still beautiful, but over the past several years, the original creek bed has become filled with silts and gravel, large fallen trees, and other natural debris. This has resulted in a major redirection of the flow of water through this area, which has rendered the creek crossing nearly impassable for large portions of the year. Side note on that, whenever summertime, it's usually dry, so it's not terrible, although it's still hard to see where you're supposed to go. Along with the closing of the dam, this problem has significantly decreased the accessibility of a large portion of the park to trail users.
And, like you just said, even when it's not flooded, you can't tell where you're supposed to walk. And if people are out there hiking and they're just wandering around willy-nilly through that area trying to figure out where the trail is, that's not good either, because we don't know what they're...
Yeah.
People need to stay on the trail. Okay. Any questions for Sam about this? Do we feel like we're educated?
No, it sounds like you're
For the
talking
day?
to everybody, river restoration, the watershed people, and the Corps of Engineers. I don't know who else you would talk to, so.
And the watershed assessment thing is ongoing, so that's got Game and Fish and all those other people looking at it too, or the state, or whoever.
Yeah.
This will be a big project.
Is that, I guess my question would be, that's the only real solution is to do that? I mean,
it
just
depends
there's
on-
like 10 other ways to do it, or is that
Depends on the
just
scope of what you're looking at. I mean, if you're talking about, there's potential to build a bridge, but that would be,
But we can't
that'd be absurd. That's, and it'd also require, permission
you
from
can't
the
tell
Corps
me
of
that every
Engineers to do.
federal park or state park, every time the water runs, they go build a new bridge because nature just decided it's going to go a different way. They manage that.
They
have to.
manage the creeks, yeah.
So, I don't know why we would be any different. I was just curious if that's the answer, and everybody seems to think that is the answer. The experts think that will at least get the water.
Yeah. John agrees it can help for sure. He also says, it's temporary. You're going to have to go down there, and he's like, you guys are going to go down once a year probably. And I'm like, well, yeah,
gonna
that's
take maintenance like
part of
any-
maintenance. You
yeah.
have to do that.
Yeah, but if you take $1,000 a year, or
Yeah.
whatever, to rent the thing and do it, then it's not a $20,000 job after 5 years of not doing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it is. I included I didn't print them, but the quotes for the machines. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I
But,
saw those up.
I didn't see
It's
them.
mentioned in the solution, I think,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, the solution was,
$1,000 a week. for
well, yeah, that's a little off. But when I wrote this, I wrote this a year ago, or almost a year ago, and I hadn't actually, this is just something I could show you guys photos and give you a summary, but be $15,000 for 2 machines. You'd have to have a large enough excavator and a front end loader, and then delivery fees for both of those machines there and back. So actually it's 12, but then you think about gas, and I was kind of adding a few other expenses that might be unforeseen, but
Maureen, I know we're not like Central Park in New York City because we don't have that kind of money to make the park as stunning as Central Park is. But, you know, they have stone bridges and they're clean all the time. And when things get overgrown and don't get the attention they deserve, then the creek is going to move. It's going to do what it would do.
Right.
So I can't
It's a-
imagine what
it's a
that would
park,
be
not-
like.
It's a
if-
park, not a wilderness area.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
supposed to manage.
So
those
we're
things.
supposed to manage it, we're supposed to make it look good and make it usable for anybody who wants to go out there, so.
Good.
Sam, I have one question. You've spoken to a pretty fair amount of experts on this, and most of them seem to agree with this plan. How many have disagreed? Have any?
I mean, they all agree that it can be done. They all have, I believe, I guess a good way to say it is that they have different levels of how much, you know, effectiveness it's really going to have in the long run. I mean, like,
Okay.
but once again, that goes back to like, yes, I know it's not a permanent solution.
Yeah.
It's a creek, it's a river. Rivers change all the time, but I mean, we've never tried it, is my thinking, and so it's like, what if it does help? What if it really solves the problem for 3 or 4 years, and then, you know, we can say we did it successfully. I mean, yeah, it could. There's always potential for things to not work out, but, and it is $15,000, but, I mean, like I said, the other option is to just let it sit the way it is.
Well, see, I don't think it's an
Water
option.
flowing in the right, if you get the water, it seems to me, but I'm not an expert, but to me, it seems like if you get the water flowing in the right channel and it's allowed to free flow without trees and everything blocking it, it should clear it out even more and kind of,
Yeah, it should dig the
Keep it
channel
going.
deeper. Yeah,
you know, but yeah, there's no guarantees because any flood can do anything.
yeah. Yeah, it should accentuate the creek bed over time, you know, it should, you know, make it deeper, more pronounced.
That's
But
what I think.
we just, you know, it is a big job. It's like, it's
The way it
crazy.
is
It's,
now, if there's a flood, it's just going to sit on top of what's there. And if you don't dredge it, the water won't flow.
it's flowing, it's always going to flow, but the
But not
problem
the
is,
direction where it should.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
you know, if you look
It
at
would
this,
just
if you
flood
go
and
back to
just
this
sit
photo,
on top of it. It
Yeah.
would
See where-
never push it.
Yeah.
it couldn't push that
Right.
material down anymore.
There's
So what
absolutely
happens
no
is,
way
forms a
any
big
force
swamp.
of water would push it back to the natural
so that's
way
why
it used
that
to be.
happened. It cut to the left, and now
Yeah.
it's going that way.
Yeah,
Flood control.
okay.
Okay. Well, good.
I also said we have a letter, I don't want to kind of go over this, but we have a letter to the commissioners from
Oh, yeah.
Faith and Michael Shaw. And I mean, one thing they do say, and I agree completely, is I urge you to go down and get input from more people with knowledge to ensure that any project that is implemented is successful. Which is why I asked you about who all you've talked to. I know sometimes it appears that that was done quickly, but this has not been, you've been talking to people for a long time about,
I've been working on this particular section since I took over. Actually, I think before that.
Before that, when you were doing
I was
trails.
talking with,
so, I mean, it isn't just like I woke up yesterday and said, let's go do this. And that's what they asked us to do, and I think that was a reasonable request, that
And
and
the Sioux
feel
did.
good about the answer.
I had a couple emails back and forth with Faith, and when I mentioned that I had actually talked with, you know, several people, she,
better
you know, she felt better. I mean, I don't know if she approves of it
So
or not.
will you
but-
reach out to these people? I feel like somebody needs to and kind of let them know.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, I did.
Oh, you
did,
did
he did,
already.
he did.
Excellent. Good, good.
Okay.
I did tell her we would read it. Someone else want to read it? I feel weird reading it.
Oh.
'Cause it's addressed to me.
I'll be happy to read it, yeah. You
Okay.
can have it in the-
Actually, it's addressed to you guys, I'm sorry. So
Do what?
it's addressed to the commission.
Says to your
so-
commissioners.
From Faith Shaw. Is that how you pronounce the name? Am I pronouncing
Shaw,
that right?
Faith Shaw.
Dear Commissioners, I understand that dredging of Leatherwood Creek is being proposed. I am concerned because more often than not, these projects can actually make it worse. I hope you have stream experts involved with the track record of success. Creeks and streams naturally change course over time. Because they took one course for a while does not mean they want to take that course in the future. Efforts to impose our will on where a stream flows very often end in failure. Money spent are often wasted and not infrequently making things worse. I urge you to slow down and get input from more people with knowledge to ensure that any project that is implemented is successful. Sincerely, Faith and Michael Shaw.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any other questions for Sam about Leatherwood Creek, West Leatherwood Creek? Anything else you need to tell us about, Sam? About the creek? You told us all you want to tell us?
I mean, I would just like to assure everyone that, Leatherwood is a very special place to me personally. So, I probably know the trail system better than, other than a couple people, probably better than anyone else. I feel like this could, I feel confident I can make it better, and I want to make it better, and it's not like something I'm taking lightly or just, we're going to take it very seriously. And I understand it's a sensitive area.
And,
so.
and you have been, but maybe people don't know that, so that's good. You're right to let
Yeah.
people know that.
Yes.
That's good. Okay. Because, this is just, so the rain events do get worse and worse these days. Everything that flooded before a little bit is now flooding a lot more in these kind of stream areas and things, and it's just going to be, other areas will have the same problems, unfortunately. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Sam. I like the pictures. It's a nice, it was a good
Oh,
way to
and
explain it to
it
us.
does
It's
help
good.
I will get with John, and if we go through with this, I'll make sure he visits periodically to come by and ensure that we're doing the right thing. 'Cause even if that means paying them, obviously it's, I think, money well spent if we get some advice. He did most of the stuff, all of it volunteer basis, because he really likes Leatherwood.
Oh, that's
so
good.
He appreciates it.
Okay. Next item of new business is full-time employment offer for grounds specialist.
Oh, thank God, something easy. Yeah, so we have a new grounds person we hired just a little while ago, maybe a couple months ago, and he's been working out great. He's really staying on top of everything. Haven't had any issues with him. So he also has a lot of experience with contract work, painting, construction, stuff like that. Seems like he'd be really useful through the winter. If you think about cabin renovations, helping with Christmas lights. So I didn't want to even think about, laying him off for the winter. We're so short-staffed anyway, so. But that being said, I'd have to offer him full-time employment, and, technically we don't have to until he reaches X amount of hours, but I figured might as well. If we know we want him, let's lock him up, so.
Okay.
Is this would that be a new position, or is it
No,
just?
it would still be that groundskeeper position, but we'd just be making it year-round
Full-time.
instead of seasonal,
Oh, okay.
so.
And
But
your,
because it's a change, I have to get your
and your
blessing.
budget, your budget is,
We're good. Well, we had to be good on budget.
I was worried because, like I said, with changing those COAs, the way we were doing our payroll, it added $80,000 that wasn't actually there. You know what I mean? Like
It was just
anyways,
accounting
it's too
wrong.
complicated to explain.
yeah.
But
It was on paper, it wasn't in real life, it was just.
yeah, it was actually much less. So we're, according to our payroll, we're definitely within our, allotted percentage for the year. So.
Okay. Okay.
yes, we can.
Would you
afford
like
it.
a vote?
Is there a motion for that?
Yeah, you'd have to have one for that.
Okay.
So basically, it's taken the current position of, what do we call it, seasonal grounds?
Yeah, be seasonal groundskeeper. I call it grounds specialist because I feel like groundskeeper is a little mundane sounding. I don't know.
Grounds, I like that.
Ground specialist sounds more official.
And to a full-time annual, I mean,
Year-round.
Just
year-round.
regular, full-time, regular position.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the way Jerry.
So with
Says
the
it.
current situation, are they paid with benefits and everything?
Right now, they get, workers' comp and stuff like that, but they don't get health
Insurance
benefits
options,
because they're
so-
part-time or seasonal, whatever you want to call it. But
So this would add him to getting benefits?
yes. So access to retirement if he so chooses, that's optional, but then also the health care.
So I make a motion that we make this a full-time position for the seasonal grounds specialist to be full-time.
That's Rod. Do you have a second?
Second.
It's Jonathan. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. You have your full-time ground specialist. Done. Any other questions about that? We done that part? Commissioner comments. Let's start with Beth. Anything to say today, Beth?
I do not.
Okay. Mark?
I do not.
Jonathan?
Not at this time.
Me neither. Rod, any?
I'm happy with the entrance to the dog park. You did a great job. And
Oh, you
I
did.
checked it out, and I'm very happy with it.
I'll second that.
Yeah, and that's a really
Aye.
good thing.
Yeah,
Yes. It looks nice, it looks clean.
yeah.
Both the entrance to the dog park and the entrance to that upper drive.
Oh, man. So funny story, when I first took over as director, Katie, my Katie, sent me an email saying, "Dear Mr. Dudley, can you please fix the entryway off Polk Street into Harmon Park?" And I'm like,
Okay.
okay,
thanks.
whatever.
Get in
Like,
line.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, get in line.
like
Yeah, it reminds
it's not
me
like
of
I
what
didn't
think
notice
about
it before. Like, yes, I've seen it. It's,
I didn't even notice it was bad because of what I drive until it was
you
bad.
know, it's-
And then I went and looked at it, it's like, oh, that is bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
My little Subaru did not like it.
My Jeep didn't even notice it.
Do we have minutes to approve from the previous meeting?
We do.
we do. I put them in the Dropbox.
Yes,
so
I
everyone
saw
can
them.
hopefully look at them real quick.
Everybody saw them? Everybody's,
The minutes is such a weird, thing. You have to, put it in the Dropbox for you guys to review, and then we sign it, and then we scan it again and put
I
it in the
know,
old.
it's just complicated.
Yeah, it's like,
do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for August 15th.
That's Mark.
Second.
Jonathan? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. The minutes from August 15th, 2023 are approved. That's all we have to do, right?
and if you can sign them real quick.
I'll sign them, and I will say one more time about the October 7th thing, while we're on October 7th,
10 to 2.
10 to 2, at the Sal Wilson Pavilion. There'll be snacks. You bring a donation, you get snacks.
You can get a
Dawn,
treat.
you get a treat. Ooh,
How many trees do we have?
We're getting 200.
Oh,
200 trees.
100 trees.
We're trying to limit it to 2 per house, 2 per household.
Are those for city limit people?
No.
I don't think so. I think you just can come in. It's part of the,
I don't need any
Trees USA.
You've seen,
I
you haven't
do,
seen
though.
where I
I'm
live.
coming.
I mean, you're on the commission. I think you
yeah. Yeah,
have
it's
done
tree,
enough volunteering to get one. Yeah.
Tree City USA provided. And then Dawn and Scott are going to play music, so it sounds fun. All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to
That's
adjourn.
Beth. And a second?
I'll second.
Jonathan? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. We are adjourned. It is, whatever time it is, 7:13 PM. Thank you.
Good.